Hello, I'm Veronica Campbell. I'm the Bursar and Director of Strategic Innovation. I'm also the co-chair of the Learning Spaces Strand for the Trinity Education Project. I'm joined here in conversation today with Helen Shenton, librarian and college archivist, and also the co-chair of the Learning Spaces Strand. And also with us is Molly Kenny, the Education Officer of the Students' Union. On the 18th of February, we hosted a forum for the entire college community to discuss learning spaces in Trinity College. We were interested in gathering people's views on the issues around learning spaces, the nature of learning spaces in Trinity, the challenges that people face, and we also had a really great discussion about credible solutions and best practice. Helen, the Learning Spaces Forum was part of the Library of the Future of the Library series of events that you and your colleagues have put together. How important is it that the library is really a key part of the discussion on learning spaces?
It's absolutely critical. What we've learned from our students and from all of our other users is just how the ways that people are learning and interacting and collaborating is just changing exponentially. So one of the students, for example, in engineering said to me, I need a lovely space to use my laptop. That's what I need. Other people use the spaces collaboratively. And what we know both ourselves and then internationally is that different sorts of spaces is critically important. And then the library, there's a whole anthropology of different sorts of spaces that we need different sorts. So yes, you need that really quiet zone for, when you really, really want to study. But there are other times when you want to be more social. And this is the Blackstone Launchpad. So it's an entrepreneurship space for undergrads, and they're going to have, for if you've got an idea, you come here. But why we've positioned this and welcomed it into the library is because, firstly, it's universal for everyone, but also, more importantly, when this isn't in use as the launchpad, it's a lovely space. And so the library's open until 10 o'clock at night.
Molly, there were many undergraduate students at the forum on the 18th of February. So as education officer, what were the most kind of striking parts of the conversation from your perspective?
I think what came out quite a bit was that students see the whole campus as a learning space. So the idea is that even though a lot of people live here, that when you're in college to do work, and whether that be from sitting down in the library and doing a 4-hour stint, but the majority of time students need spaces to just be able to read over a tutorial really quickly, to be able to move in and out of the kind of flexible spaces. So it was a lot of the conversation then was kind of student focused about what students wanted and where students wanted to learn. And I think that was a really nice part of the conversation, was students felt really involved. And when we asked students in the Students' Union what they felt about the spaces and where they studied, a lot of them did say, the library came up, but a lot of the places were things like the Buttery, where they'd like to go and have a cup of coffee and read. So I think the conversations really focused around the student-based learning spaces and how to design spaces for students.
Just thinking, to your point, about the whole of the campus as learning spaces. So whether you're having a sandwich on the cricket pitch, or whether you're outside or inside a lecture theatre, that this sort of a cultural shift to think of all the different sorts of spaces as learning spaces, and as pedagogies changed and ways of teaching and so on. We need to reflect that. I mean, you must have seen that when you went to the UK.
Yes, a delegation from Trinity went and had a visit round, and you were there as well, Molly, of course, and we had a very interesting visit round a few universities. And what was very striking to me was that the student experience is at the absolute heart of the estate strategy for those institutions. And a lot of effort has been put into developing new learning spaces and a range of learning spaces for students through Learning Commons, for example, where students can book rooms for group work. If we want to embed more group work in our curriculum, then we have to be providing the right type of spaces for that type of activity.
The space was designed by the students, but had academic input as well. So they had a space coordinator.
That's right, yes. A learning spaces officer or a learning spaces architect seems to be very common in many universities. And that person will work with the academic community to kind of think about, well, what type of curriculum and learning is required, and how the space across the campus can be best optimised to support that. And also from a data perspective, that individual would capture information about efficiency of use of learning spaces as well. So there's a number of elements that kind of role feeds into.
Because you saw more group work being built in, because there was spaces for students to do group work. That person was in charge of looking at both, the needs software-wise, academic-wise, and really, really strongly on the student input of what they wanted.
I think it's really important to think about it in the round, as you say, and we had another session, a fantastic session of under the auspices of this year of debate, of library as place as library. And all these issues came out, and we debated it with architects, and the quality of the design came out to involve students, but it not just in isolation, and also how the practical things, light is so important. The number of sockets, the different design styles, that then you do different things in different spaces. That all came out very, very, very clearly. But the thing is, Veronica, then this begs the question: what are we doing at Trinity?
Yes.
And I know you've been working on this infrastructure.
Yes, so we've just completed, we've just received our strategic review of our estate, and there's a number of recommendations that are coming out on that. And one thing is that we should have to be developing a strategy around our informal and breakout spaces, and that we do have quite a traditional approach to our learning environments, and I think there's so many good ideas that are coming to the fore through the Trinity Education Project that I think now is the time to really embrace some of those ideas and develop a plan to help revise and update some of our teaching spaces aligned with the needs of the curriculum.